Hey guys, Saki here from Sakitech, and in today's video we are back with 5 more fantastic tips and tricks for the iPhone 7 Plus that you probably are not using. Now this will be part 2 of these iPhone 7 Plus tips and tricks videos. If you want to watch part 1, you can find the link in the description below. There will be more parts, so subscribe and stay tuned. These tips and tricks are sure to enhance the use of your iPhone. You did pay a lot of money for your iPhone, so you might as well learn as much as possible. Anyway, let's dive in and start learning. Alright, so the first app I want to talk about has to do with the timer function. Something the timer can do that a lot of people are not aware of. So let's go into the music application and let's play a music. What I can do now is, let's say I'm going to sleep when I play this music. And obviously if you go to sleep, the music will be playing all night. And by the morning, the battery might be dead if it is not plugged into the charger or whatever. Anyway, so what you can do is you can go into the clock application while the music is playing. So let's launch the clock application. Let's do a search for it. And then you can go into the timer functionality over here. And then let's say you set a timer for 1 minute or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever you need. Let's say you think you're going to fall asleep in 20 minutes. And 0 hours. What you want to do is you want to tap on the when timer ends. When timer ends, normally what happens is you can play one of these ringtones or melodies. But if you scroll all the way down, it has an option saying stop playing. So what that's going to do is when I set the timer and when the timer hits the 20-minute mark, it's going to stop playing the music that is playing in the background, which in this case is this guy over here. Alright, so if you are the kind of person that goes to sleep listening to music, or even somebody that works out to music, the timer functionality is great to end the music to indicate the workout is over, or perhaps just for the music to end as you are fallen asleep. Alright, so let's move on to the next tip. Alright, so the next tip has to do with the menu that you can enable that can basically float on the screen, which has an amazing amount of functionality. So let's go into the settings really quick, and let's go to General, and go to Accessibility, and look for where it says Assistive Touch, which is right here. Tap this guy and just enable it. Immediately you will see that there's a floating menu on the actual screen, which looks like a home button. It is in fact a home button and much more. So what you can do is you can tap on this guy. It gives you a bunch of options. One of them is the one that mimics the home button. So if I tap it, it's going to go back home. If I go back to settings, I would press this to take me home, but I can just use this guy at this point. The other things it can do is it can allow you to pull up the control center, okay? And it can allow you to pull down the notification center if you so desire. And let's see what else we have. You can tap this guy and you can activate Siri, or you can even go to device and access even more functions such as lock screen, volume up. See, that's going to bring the volume up, and that's going to bring the volume down. Okay, you can mute it, and you can even click more, and gives you much more options. You can even bring up the multitasking pane just by tapping this thing right here. Normally what you would do is you will double tap the screen and that brings up the multitasking pane. But in this case, you can just use the software key to do a lot of things on the phone that usually require you to be all over the place. Now this menu all by itself could be a tips and tricks video. There's so much going on inside this thing. If you tap this thing, you can tap custom, and from here you can actually emulate the pinch gesture. You can emulate the 3D touch gesture. You can emulate the double tap gestures. All these things that you do with your fingers, you can actually emulate these things using this software key, which is pretty amazing. The final thing I want to talk about is if you go back into the settings under Assistive Touch, you can customize the top level menu and even create new gestures. I'll let you play with this yourself, but take a look at this for a minute. If I tap this, that's the top level menu. And if I tap this, you'll see the replica of that top level menu. And basically what you can do is you can rearrange these guys and you can actually add things that you actually care about. Alright, so it's a fantastic tool. Go ahead and enable the Assistive Touch, play around with it, and see if you like it. Let's move on to the next tip. Now sometimes it is hard to reach the top parts of the phone if you're holding the phone in your hand just like this and you're trying to use your thumb to reach the top part. What you can do for that is enable something called reachability. Now, a lot of people do not simply know about this for some reason, but it was actually a highlighted feature at some point during Apple presentations. Now, what you can do is you can double tap the home screen, just tap it, and it brings down the entire screen within the proximity of your thumb, so you can easily reach it even if you're holding it with one hand. And this could be done anywhere. If I was in an app and I was trying to tap something on the top over here, and I was just holding the phone with one hand, I can double tap this with my thumb. It comes down, and I can easily tap on this thing and just continue working from there. Now, you have to make sure that reachability is enabled. It should be enabled by default, but if it is not working, go into the settings, and then again, go to General, go to Accessibility, and then just scroll down until you see reachability and make sure it is enabled. If you disable this, it doesn't work anymore. If you enable it, it works just about anywhere on your iPhone. Now, one more thing, sometimes iOS gets updates. So when I say reachability is under accessibility, sometimes it might have moved. If anything I'm showing here is not at the same place that you see on this phone that is running iOS 10, you can simply go up here and search for that setting. So when you go into the settings, let me just exit this for a minute. When you go into the settings, you see this by default, but if you scroll down, you have that search functionality, and from here I can search for anything. So I can tap here and I can type notifications, and then that, for example, brings the notifications, and that's a shortcut. You can go right into that setting right here, which is normally sitting over here, but it was moved somewhere else. In the upcoming versions, you can always search for the function that I'm trying to showcase for you guys. Anyway, make sure reachability is in fact enabled, and let's move on to the next tip. All right, so the next tip has to do with security. So basically what happens is when your phone is locked, obviously when you unlock it, you can either use your fingerprint or you can tap this home button and enter your passcode. Now, normally what happens is we have a very simple passcode. It's either 4 digits or 6 digits. And obviously if you're using something like your birth date or the last 4 digits of your phone number, it's easy to guess, and it actually allows other people to guess and invade our phones. So what I want you guys to do, and let me log into my phone really quick, is go into the settings, scroll down to Touch ID and passcode. Let me just enter my passcode really quick, which is going to reveal this menu. Scroll down and go to Change Passcode, okay? And then again, it's going to ask you to enter your current passcode, which I'm going to do right now. And once I do, it's going to ask you to put a new passcode. But before you enter the new passcode, you can tap the passcode options, which allows you to actually create a custom alphanumeric code, or a custom numeric code, or a 4-digit numeric code. Now this one here is the most advanced version. So with this one, you can have letters, numbers, symbols, anything that you want, which means it's going to provide the highest level of security. It's much harder to guess an alphanumeric passcode as opposed to just a simple 4-digit PIN, okay? So I encourage to you, if you're concerned about security, to change this option. Let's move on to the next tip. All right, so the final tip has to do with Safari, and it's 2 tips in 1. So let's launch Safari, and let's say you're reading an article and you have scrolled all the way down to the end of the article, but then again you want to go to the top to access the menu of the website. You would have to scroll all the way up. But what you can do with the iPhone is if you tap the bar on the top, where it says AT&T and where it gives you the time, it actually pops right back to top with a tap. So if I tap it right here, boom, it goes right upstairs. So if I go down and if I tap here, it goes all the way to the top. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is, let's say that there's something you're looking for on the page and you want to search for that word. So let's say I want to search for the word charmers. I was up top here, I was looking for that word. What you want to do is tap this icon here, okay, and then simply scroll over and tap on Find on Page, and then you can type in charmer, and it's going to tell you that word is right here. And of course, there might be multiple instances of the same word in Safari, so all you do is tap these arrows, bottom, top, and scroll through the different locations where you can find that word. And that's the end of the tip. Alright, and that brings us to the end of this video. Make sure to subscribe to sakitech for more iPhone tips and tricks videos that will be released soon. Additionally, if you like the case I'm using for my iPhone 7 Plus, which is a pure leather case, you will find a link in the description below to grab one for yourself. Thank you for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, family, and have a fantastic day.